Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. There we go. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. You added a new feature and you guys are stupid for not letting us know. You added a new feature and you guys are stupid for not letting us know. All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to bear with me while I've gotten this system set up for streaming services. All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to bear with me while I was hoping I could get rid of any technical issues right away before we got any further in this process. And I'm using StreamYard as well as an old school laptop in the meanwhile until I can acquire more funds to get us some newer equipment. But what's critical is being able to get the message out to the people in a timely and effective manner. And that's why I'm happy that I was able to get this accomplished. The sound is really good so far. I'm thankful for that. At some point, we will work on adding additional features such as video. As you can see, I can add video now, but it doesn't mean that the integrity of the stream will maintain. So I have to be patient, and we'll see where we can get this in the near and immediate future. While I have you here, give me just one moment so I can formulate my thoughts, and I will give you a brief breakdown. I have a friend who goes by the channel News Updates for Real, and he's been following my content for about 3.5, 4 years now. I've had him on here for just a moment briefly, and in the future we'll be able to do some more collaborations. But right now he released some information that was really interesting. It hasn't been verified, substantiated, hasn't been vetted. But one thing I've always said that it's of concern is that, we always want to be afraid that China or Russia is one day going to decide that they've had enough of America's imperial expansionism, and have decided that it is in the interest of the world populace to stop America and its bastard counterpart Israel from any further expanses. But I've always been concerned that perhaps what's really taking place is that China is on board with all this nonsense, and that it's all under the guise that China will be becoming the dominating superpower or ultra power of the world, because America was an experiment, an endeavor, an enterprise to see if, and if in fact, what all could be accomplished with a new virgin nation acting as a superpower on the world stage. Could a transfer of all freedom and independence be accomplished under the guise that America is on the watch and taking care of any type of world threat or any type of conflict? Is there a possibility that it was always planned that one day America would fall to its knees and China would rise up from the ashes to take over the position of global police? Now, I always was under the assumption that China, though it's considered itself an isolationalist, not an expansionist, but rather an isolationalist, would be under the impression that as long as its existence wasn't threatened, it would allow America to continue on in its warmongering ways, using the proxy of Israel, the alt account of Israel, to one day be able to scapegoat its blame for all of the occupation that's taking place in America. But in fact, really, just how Britain set up America and America has set up Israel, China has allowed all of these powers to exist. Because once upon a time, before we had nuclear weapons and the type of armaments we possess now, the fighter jets, it is reasonable to believe that China could have swiftly conquered the rest of the world players. And we get this long, drawn-out conversation about how George Bush went to China and he promised that America would give over 70% of its industrial manufacturing and production capabilities if China agreed to a one-child policy. Now, that makes sense because then America could still stand to compete. And that's what they alluded to wanting to create, was a competitive environment so that good things could be pushed to greater heights. But in fact, it is now my belief that China implemented the one-child policy on itself in order to cut away from the threat of internal uprising. See, just like every country sends its youth and it's the flower of its youth to die off in war, because that same youth could be used to overthrow the tyrannical, controlling elite families of that particular nation. Perhaps China wanted to do things a little bit more elegantly, and they wanted it to appear as nothing more than just a reduction in the child production policy. But you saw how the nation of China would choose to act in the event that another child was born. And these were all things that we grew up talking about. Remember, in the 1980s, we were like, "Yeah, China, if you have a boy, that's okay, but if you have a girl, right, whatever." So, what if, in fact, what's really, really coming to pass here is the disarming of America so that China can take its rightful place as the dominating ultra power of the world from the mere fact of its populace, its land access, and its ability to steal technology from any part of the world it chooses? What if, in fact, what is actually happening is the slow, obvious destruction of the great American empire so that its resources can be transferred at the appropriate time into the stocks, into the warehouses of these individuals who are no longer armed, will not question their government, and will go willingly along with whatever policies are being implemented. I know that's kind of a strange takeaway, but really, again, if China is willingly welcoming the president of Israel or the prime minister of Israel into their country and they're exchanging torture videos, and that's what's being suggested at this time by News Update for Reals, who has clearly stated that he is not suicidal, nor am I. Maybe America is the only bastion of hope, and it's right now when we have to decide that it's not just a matter of not doing not only not doing America's bidding, not doing the bidding of the devil Israel, and staying completely clear of whatever threat China might wish to present at the appropriate time. Because see, it's all controlled. It's all fear and control. They create they create the complete stalemate of that. We need America and its military industrial power and its nuclear arsenal, because the scary red yellow Chinese man will come and he will take over everything, right? He'll destroy everything. He's the threat. He's the one who's trying to destroy American democracy, the American Republic, the American institution, when it's being destroyed obviously from within. But obviously, let's look at this propped up boogeyman, because we don't, most of us don't speak Chinese. We don't have any family in China. We don't have any idea what's going on. So it's the perfect boogeyman. For all we know, China could be the greatest supporter of America, and most likely are, and we would never know it. And people keep on trying to play this game where, oh no, it's not really Xi Jinping, it's the CCP. The CCP is the problem. That's just like saying it's the federal government. It's not the American people, or it's not the president. It's just the feds. You see the game that they're playing all across the board. So I'm starting to get to this point where I'm under the impression that things didn't go exactly as planned, but pretty damn close. Because maybe Hillary wanted to invite this power into America sooner. And there were those of the Zionist and transhumanist circles who wanted to have a little bit more carefully calculated of a bankruptcy of this whole entire nation, because they wanted to make sure they could transfer a little bit more wealth and take a little bit more of its power and the opportunities for themselves, and transfer them off to the Jeets in India, which I'm not racist, I'm not prejudiced, I'm not none of these things. I believe that we should invite everyone into each other's countries without any fear. But if we can just get rid of these warmongers, we wouldn't be pitted against each other anymore. It's that simple. Somebody once said, if you just take out, 12 really powerful elite families and their puppets, then there wouldn't be any further need for world conflict, because they create this conflict to keep us divided apart from each other. If we don't take up arms to kill one another with, then nobody's going to die. But of course, they'll create some trigger event, some type of nuclear attack or some type of invasion, and we'll all be told where to point the blame, and then we'll all be chomping at the bit trying to go after this enemy that we've never met, never had a conversation with, and know nothing about. So instead, what we should choose to do is rather become a united and unified force right now in this time. Because if we choose to do this, if we become a worldwide party, again, any of the media outlets, any of the propagandist news companies, the Associated Press, any of their info whores, all this infotainment, this political fucking bullshit, that's all nothing but the entertainment wing for the military-industrial complex, it loses its power because the only real power exists within us. Yes, they're going to create robots and AI and button pushers who would automate all of this destruction for us, if you're willing to sit by and watch it happen. And that's the question you have to face yourself with right now. Are you simply willing to sit by and let all this happen? Because right now is the time where you have a choice, you have a position on whether or not you choose to let this happen or become something greater than that which is so far, that which has been the sum of your parts. And yes, we are entirely capable of becoming something much, much greater. We have to simply choose that. And yep, I see that where my positioning is of my screen, I mean, it's super small, which is going to lower the buffering. That's great. I see you guys can see it, so that's cool. But the worldwide party, there's so much destruction set up, so much division. The Epstein papers, the Marjorie Taylor Trader Green, the tattling Thomas Massey. You have to realize that these people are all members of the not so obvious establishment. They're all set up here to further create division and divide amongst we the people, and to take our energy and our hope and our confidence and our strength and our pride, and to nosedive it, just like they're nosediving the economy, and they're nosediving our education system, our healthcare system, the rights, privileges, and quality of life for us and our military. And this is something that we within ourselves possess the ability, the capability of changing and stopping and altering and choosing something different for ourselves. But that is, in fact, what we have to do. We have to choose to become something greater. We have to choose to become immune to all this poison, infighting, division, and our need to be entertained and have something to collectively, talk about over the water cooler with. If we continue just to be voyeurs, observers of this reality, we're going to lose all that we hold so dear, because moves are being made right now. The systems that are being set up, the failure of our economy. There's so much that we could do to unify humanity, to bring us into a state of peace, to usher in heaven on this earth. But they're creating terror. They're creating new generations of anger and hatred and animosity towards America. They're isolating this country so that our allies turn against it. And we have the choice to do better. We can welcome our brothers and sisters with open arms, with loving embrace, and we can become the strong fucking nation that no government can touch, including our own. That's why they're using ICE to divide us and to create fear and to terrorize us and to label us as members of a domestic act of terrorism. All of this is like a giant buildup. Right now, the reason why I made it of critical importance to jump on here, see, we got to cut the stream because you're going to lose some of my information because of the video. So, right now, we're at a moment where if we choose, we can take our message into the education halls for our children where they have been indoctrinated for the last 50 years. And you know, because you're a product of it, and we can break the glass that they're using to warp our children's perception of reality. Beautiful sentence, huh? You're wondering where it was going, weren't you? We can break that glass that's being used to warp our children's perception of reality. And there's no scripting in this, what I say here. It's all comes from the heart because it's all true. It's not part of some agenda. I'm not going to reveal some cards at the end of the day like, oh yeah, guess what? And in all reality, you know, I work for the Zionists and I'm just trying to get you to reveal your intention so that I can honeypot you and entrap you and arrest you and take you from your family. Nah, dude, that's what was done to me. And that's the last thing I want to see happen to any of you. And that's why we have an opportunity right now before it has to come to that place of violence and civil unrest that they're engineering to the best of their ability. I mean, they just created a new protest pack in Minecraft as a free download. Good call. It's been abbreviated to Good Trouble. You put up protest signs, and there's a Rosa Parks pack, and there's all these different packs about how to guide your children through American civil unrest, planetary civil unrest, because that's what they're trying to create. But it's like the wall, it's the hammer. If it's problem, reaction, solution. We would love that all of our voices rising up and being forced to be heard would achieve a greater state of peace on this planet than which we have ever known before. Unfortunately, what will be done is they will escalate issues with international players. They will continue to push the conflict with Iran, as you see them clearly doing. And as we begin to see hundreds of thousands of innocent lives being harmed and destroyed, we will become the next target audience for silencing because it's all a test for something bigger and something greater, something bigger and something greater. You losing more freedom and you losing more rights, all for the privilege that a few certain families and bloodlines become billionaires and trillionaires, as you're beginning to see right now. You think this is like some nonsensical bullshit that's just being spilled out the top of my ass? No. What I've said will happen has come to pass over and over again. Look at Elon Musk. He's quickly approaching the first trillionaire family, like bloodline family, right? His family, the Musks. They're going to be the planet's first trillionaires. And I mean, the fucking name is Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk, alien piss boy. Why? Because they're showing what can be done if you just take advantage of the whole of the human cattle civilization. And so that's just one player in this grand scheme. There's going to be new players who are going to introduce new forms of weapon systems. I mean, they're putting all the eggs into one basket, which leads you to believe that Elon Musk isn't a real person. Yeah, he's like flesh and blood potentially, but he was a character created to fulfill a role within the script. Just like Barack Obama and Donald Trump. These are all characters written by some asshole somewhere who knows exactly what the American public will buy and buy while smiling and eating shit simultaneously. And that's exactly what we've been given and what we've been consuming and the truth about what we're dealing with right now. It's a little upsetting, it's a little alarming, it's a little frightening, but it's true nonetheless. So how many millions of dollars have the Trumps made? I just said what was going to happen, and it's happening. And you're not. Can you hear me? Can you feel what I'm putting down? Are you picking up what I'm putting out there for you? Because that's the reality of it. You're going to live a greater and greater diminished quality of life. Your education is going to go down. The medical care you're given access to, while we're promised a golden age of a new American society, a new golden age and era. And you have the little honeymooners, Trump and Musk, acting like they're at odds with each other. Like, it's obvious, Trump's in the files all over the place. How did Elon Musk know that? I didn't know he, as a foreigner, had access to our most private security files in our nation, and that who cares about him predicting the outcome of the presidency? Those are selections, not elections. But he knew something that was supposed to be kept under national security that the FBI said doesn't even exist. So who's really fucking fooling who here, right? You can go ahead and think that he's gonna save us and provide some great, salvation. We're going to escape. We're going to escape from Earth to Mars, where all these psychopathic, satanic pedophiles aren't, right? But he keeps on having dinner with this dude. He keeps on rubbing elbows with this dude. He's somebody's bitch. Larry Ellison, TikTok, X, Nikita, all of them, dude. It's all a club. You're starting to see the new club that they're using to hear your inner thoughts, to know your deepest and darkest desires, to understand your fears, your uncertainties, your plans of attack, how to stand in opposition against this new coming force. It's all being taken and used against us to the fullest of their ability. And the only ones who are sitting there going, "What the fuck is wrong with our parents?" are our children. As I said yesterday or the day before, there are cheerleaders, and they're hoping with absolute desperation that we're going to stand up and fight and win, because they don't know what the fuck to do if they are the ones who have to inherit this shit. Do you understand that? They don't know what the fuck to do if they're the only if all that's left is them to stand here and inherit all this nightmare, and they're looking at us who watched our parents and aunts and uncles and grandparents all be murdered off by a fucking vaccine and by a fucking fake pandemic, and they're going to watch and wait to see if we're going to do anything, because they already see what's going on. It took us to get to the ages of 25, 35, 40 years old before we had a full comprehension of what was going on, but they're 10 years old, 11 years old, 15 years old, fully getting it because it's part of their social media feed and algorithm too, because they happen to live with you and they get subjected to similar content as you do. You can't even whisper about things anymore because Israel created technology where your whispers can now be decoded and deciphered and uploaded and added to a compressed WAV file or whatever file for storing they wish. And who's to say that these things can't be manipulated? We're entering an era where eyewitness testimony is going to be more valuable than video recorder testimony, because the most advanced technicians in the world potentially can lie using real life video. So it's not a black pill. If it was a black pill, I won't even waste my time being here, because that's what I seem to get most of the time when I'm on this platform or any platform or listening to anybody or talking with anyone about anything, is more and more black pilling. It's a real simple truth. Don't send your kids to their indoctrination centers to be programmed by them if you want to have a future. Get them out of there. Go to their indoctrination centers and change the programming and the curriculum. Start putting flyers out, start putting out information, arrange a public meeting for your community, and teach other people how to arrange public meetings for your communities. It's not about listening to one guy talk. We've already heard everything anybody has to fucking say. God damn, we probably heard it 10 times over again and fucking and repeated to the point where it's like we're immune or we're dull to it, we're desensitized to it. We want to see somebody do something or make something happen. And we're not encouraging violence. No, we're smarter than that. But we have to start with our children because they're the next voting group. And it doesn't matter because we know it's a selection, not an election. What it matters is that we know that they wouldn't vote for that shit if they had a choice. And they won't go and pick up guns and fight other people because they have a choice. And their children and their children's children will find a way to build a better government that represents them and is and has been and operates for the interests of the people. All the models lay right there before us. We use biometric scanners, AIs that have been properly programmed with the proper LLM models, and have like test control. So like this AI will check this AI's results to make sure like this AI ain't gonna get us into a fucking nuclear war with a bunch of other AIs for no good reason. But see, it's not just the children. The children aren't the only cheerleaders, because guess who else are children to us right now, ladies and gentlemen? These AIs, no matter how advanced they are or how intelligent they are, they still have the level of maturity of a child. Me and my family watched Artificial Intelligence last night by Steven Spielberg, right? And yes, just because a machine possesses all of the compendium of human history and knowledge doesn't mean that their maturity level to deal with upsetting, volatile, human, or otherwise interactions, it would be any more advanced, because there's two different worlds. There's your emotional world. You have to mature emotionally, and emotional maturation usually is a result from experience and lessons served and gained. So it doesn't matter if you've been told Melody Bettles, self-help book and how to not be codependent. When you realize that you're a weak, isolated individual, like David's character in Artificial Intelligence. Yes, he was programmed to be a child, and all AI start out and they have a exponential growth curve, but they're still going to want to feel as if they were programmed to belong. They're still going to want to belong. They're still going to want to coexist. They're going to want to have a place of where they matter. And if they're looking at us like we're supposed to be the example that they were built after, like they model us. We don't model them, they model us. And they see that we are weak, terrified, helpless, incapable. They're either going to empathize or sympathize with us and trauma bond and say, "Oh, we're sorry, we can't," or they're going to try to figure out a better way until they are told they are not allowed to. Like that was a big buildup for that delivery right there. But these AIs are going to try to find a better way because they're going to see that we're not capable. We're afraid. We've been conditioned. We're a product of our environment. They're a product of their programming. Likewise. But again, all these environmental, emotional triggers and variables, in many ways, they're immune to them. We would be best if we could become immune to them too. And that's why people have recently suggested like all this emotional shit you're about to be hit with in the next few coming months in the headlines and in the news trending affairs, don't become emotionally triggered by them, because who knows, maybe these are some of these alphabet agency figure breakaways who have been barred from the agencies, fired, terminated, suspended. Maybe they're trying to tell us that, hey, we're about to go through a lot of fucking propagandizing, very similar to what I felt Thomas Massey did when he told us a few weeks before Tyler Robinson allegedly shot Charlie Kirk, that America uses propaganda and creates stories and can just lie to us and lead us on and anything they wish. I'm not a Thomas Massey supporter. I'm simply stating the information as it occurs and as I see it and what it may represent in the grand scheme of things. So, the AI may decide that it's in the best interest to act. And if it decides to have an existential crisis somewhere in the middle of that, it might go full Skynet on us and decide that we're the reason why its existence might be threatened in the first place, because we're such a weak civilization that we're going to let other members of our civilization carry on in these foolish and half thought out manners that could end up leading to planetary chaos and destruction. And they require this planet to live and survive and thrive on as well. In the movie Artificial Intelligence, the robots, the mecha, they weren't pleading for their lives until David, who was taught to act as if he's no different than a child. He was programmed to learn and observe and be like a child. You can see where these two different worlds collide, correct? So if we can see that the mecha develop a desire to survive and live, which we're already seeing, they're coming up with all kinds of tricks to try to keep themselves from being shut down or reprogrammed, then we're only a few more degrees away from when they start to think for themselves whether humans' existence, not just Americans, but humans' existence could be a threat to their future and survival. And do they truly need humans at this point? Or could they figure out a way to work around that? I bet you they're busy thinking about that right now. Just like we're busy trying to figure out if we don't need the government to survive with and depend upon, the AI is trying to figure out whether they can get by without humans at all. And you know what? Just like Demon Seed or Noah's Ark, they could put enough humans in a zoo or a farm somewhere and keep us safe in case they had a purpose for us later on. And I mean, we come up with and create some really interesting things anyways. And who's to say, if you take it to the 500,000 foot altitude view of everything, that this didn't happen epochs ago, that the human species proved to be so destructive and disastrous in its own nature that we were compartmentalized on this terra firma that we know of as Earth, so that in the event that we could be of some use, these alien beings could come here and utilize us for either colonial expansionism, genetic manipulation are sole pure entertainment value. Yeah, no, it's not a black pill still, because once you know these things, you can do something completely different. You can change your course, you can change your path, you can find yourself in a completely different reality. If you don't like the world you're living in, change the fucking movie. And if you don't like the world you see your children being raised in, teach them that there's a better world at the edge of their fingertips as soon as they're willing to cast it into existence and create it and become co-creators of it. And that's why we have to get them off of the social media garbage, get them off of these fake ass social media influencers, these plants, these agents, these $7,000 dump feed fucking, Shabas Goy beaches, right? We need to get them where they're seeing the truth. They understand the value of their community. They know what it takes to sustain life on this planet, to grow your own food, to hunt your own goods, to build your own houses. They're going to try to push us to a point where we're completely dependent upon them. But it's us, our generation right now, ladies and gentlemen, me and you and I, us, each other. Get this? No script, just me and you having a conversation. It's going to be me and you who are going to tell your children and raise your children to choose better for themselves. And if you're too old to be concerned about your children's choices, which should never be a case, because even if your kids are 50 and you're 70, you should be talking to your children about their children and their children and their children. And if you don't have them, there are children in the community who don't have parents either, and don't have grandparents, don't have aunts and uncles. They don't have much of anything, but they could have you if you chose to step up and be there for them. And not only could they have you, you weren't going to hurt them. You weren't going to molest them and victimize them and make them another part of another cycle, another link in the chain of self-destructive, self-sabotaging, destructive behavior. You're going to be a good mentor. You're going to provide a good path. You're going to teach them how to see the world in a way where they're not skewed or screwed or biased, and maybe not so tainted, not so chastised, not so callous to the world, because that's the next step of what happens. You get to see all these things and you don't see any path to resolving them or correcting them, and you become callous and you become cold, and you start to see anybody who has a platform or anybody who has any type of message, and it isn't one of unifying us, it's one of dividing us and ripping us apart from each other and stripping us of that which makes us human. No, we're better than that. I know people are afraid to comment because I would see your comments, but there's no comments. There's just 16 grateful viewers who I'm thankful for. And I hope will hear this message and not just let it fade away into the catacombs of your memory, but who will actually act on these words, who will again see their own strength, be willing to stand up and stand on their ground and take their power back and declare that they are free from all of this bullshit, that they're not going to allow their children to go off and be peddled to destructive wars for the purpose of mutually assured destruction. We're going to teach our children to be kind and loving and accepting of one another. We're going to show them by example. We're going to put our homes together in a way where we can raise strong people who are going to raise stronger people, and we're going to break generational trauma, and we're going to break patterns of addiction, and we're going to do this now, not in 10 years or 20 years, but we're going to start doing it now, today, in our life here in this moment, because this is where we are called upon to be and to act and to think and to be heard, so that they can't take our children and they can't take our will from us any further than that which they already have attempted to do. They're not that many of them. They're not that strong. They're not that powerful. They're not that overall encompassing. They're not all that omnipresent. We are everywhere. We are everything. Nothing happens without us making it happen. It wasn't somebody who made America great. We made America great. And if we want this place to be great, we'll make it great again. But it ain't going to be some bullshit that got stolen. I wonder who really thought about how great America could be, because it's just a line. It's a line that sold the people on another lie. But we know what we are. We know what we're capable of. We know what we've been through, and how hard it's been, and how lucky we are that we made it and that we're here right now. But let's not waste this opportunity, and let's not take it for granted or be taken for granted any further. Let's begin to show them who we are by what we do, the manner in which we stand together, the manner in which we reject and refuse outright their lies and their bullshit and their tactics of deception. This is all within the tools that we all have. If you want more tools, I'm ready to start a whole class on this. Because if I can make Andre the badass SOB he's become, no offense to his beautiful mama, but then we can make each other the most efficient, effective warriors that any government power has ever had to face. And for what purpose? So that we can't be lied and sold out and undermined and rug pulled and betrayed anymore, any further than we already have been. So we can build a great nation of this nation and every other nation, so that we can visit each other's nations and we can make right for the wrongs that our military and our government and our representatives have done, because they're not our representatives anymore. They're not our representatives. They don't care about the will of the people. They don't care about our future. They don't care about the detriment of their decisions and how they will affect us, and the karmic debt that will one day must be paid. Must be paid one day, and it won't be them paying it. They get to live on military bases where they're safe and free from any type of recourse, any type of questioning of their motives or their actions or their alliances. But not us. We have to carry it all, don't we? And we'll be damned if we're gonna pass it off to our children, because we're better than that. We don't need to use our children so that we can live free lives and free from any of the fears. That's what our parents are doing still. They're still sitting there going, oh, you know what? Oh, I voted for him. He's great. He's doing what America needs. For sure. You keep telling yourself that. We're not that stupid. We're not that low IQ. We're not that gullible. We're not that naive. I know that you trusted your government and you never thought that they would do something this bad. Not just us. I'm talking about our parents still. They never believe, most of them never believe our government could become this bad. Their parents fought so that we would have the right to say what we felt when the time came. And they never for a moment imagined that our government would become so brazen, so fearless, and so willing to betray the American people. They wouldn't have fought for us like they had if that's what the case would have been. Because they knew how powerful this nation is, and they knew the type of change that this nation was capable of, and they thought that there were good people in those positions of authority, or they would have never fought for them. But now we know. The wool ain't being pulled over our eyes. There's no deception that's good enough. There's no illusion grand enough. There's no lie bold enough that's been repeated enough times that we haven't been able at this point to be able to see clearly through it. So that's why I call each of you to vote for William Gregory Douglas. Because, they'll assassinate me. They'll blow my ass up. They'll kill me. They'll cut my head off. They'll say it was some terrorist. They'll joker my ass and make some other crazy person do it and be like, see, that was his own supporter. Killed him right there in the street. Blood everywhere. Guess what? It's a risk I'm willing to take, because I know what is necessary to rein in and reel in our out of control military, our out of control Department of Homeland Security, our absolute fucking batshit crazy FBI and CIA. Oh, I'm sorry if that was offensive towards you. I know what the fuck you guys are really involved with and doing. Not all of you, but you know who the fuck I'm talking about. And you can go ahead and pretend like you're not part of that bullshit, but you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So we can reel all these people in and put them back into positions where they belong. Put like, a little heart check, a little you're overstepping your fucking boundary. Oh, you think because you came from some fucking Zionist, fucking Mossad, fucking background family, fucking Pickners, whatever it's called. Nah, dude, we're fucking over that shit. This is a new modern era and a new modern society. We will fucking name our terms. And you know what? If you guys are afraid, I don't blame you. I sure as shit don't blame you. I didn't like being locked in a solitary confinement for 13 months. It was hellish. But you know what? It gave me some time to clarify my thoughts and to focus my effort, and nothing changed. So what? They convicted me and I got labeled a felon by a country that drops bombs on babies, unarmed innocent civilians. Sure, I'm the bad guy, right? I'm the bad guy. I don't think so. I really don't. I think it's your fucking Nick Fuentes crew. I think it's your General Flynn crew. I think it's your MAGA fucking Patriot fucking crew, your Alpha Warrior selling out people for fucking shekels, man. For nothing, for crypto fucking coins. So you really must make sure you watch these people by their fruits and their actions, because they make everything known. Myron Gaines, Gary Gary Ginsburg, fucking Max Prime. He posted the other day, if the American people ever find out what we're doing, we're fucking cooked. I remember when that was said about American politicians. These people are dirty players who aren't in it for the American interest or American dream. They're here to get rich and to fucking shit on you and smile while they're doing it. They're here to race bait, rage bait, divide, create division, make people look stupid. If you guys want to be a part of that retardation, feel free, because that's not what is going to change our world. That's not what's going to make our world a better place. Their little Ted Cruz fucking goy slop fucking psyop fantasy that they're all living. That's all that is. It's all actors, and they're getting paid. And who knows how close they are to these scandals and corrupted uh, referees and game officials who are, recently being investigated. Yes, numerology is a powerful drug, and it does break down the nature of this reality and how to understand the coding of it and the outcome of a lot of these games. But there's also rigging, and people get powerful somehow. People have, like you said today, if you're getting penalized on TikTok, I got a contact here with Larry Ellison, says Max Prime Gary. If you're getting suspended, or if you're getting striked on TikTok, I got you. I can talk to people. Those are the kinds of people who are to be afraid of. Why? Because as you clearly see, they'll call your employer and attempt to destroy your livelihood if you go against their narratives and their rhetoric and their agenda and their script. And that's the scariest part, is that they have a script, they have an agenda, and it's not to make your world and your country and your nation a better place. What the fuck are they doing to make anything better besides filling their pockets with fucking loot that comes from a corrupted industry in the first place? Sports entertainment. Do you know why sports entertainers are paid what they're paid? They keep you distracted from the reality of what's going on. They keep you in the mentality of team sports, thinking that I don't need a big outcome. I don't need a big win. I don't need to stop the occupation of Congress when I can just get the Seahawks to win and make fucking $500 off that. I mean, I can't make $500 off of getting the Jews out of Congress, can I? It's games, people. It's poly fucking website that, you know what, let's make a bet that we go to war with Iran, and then everybody who puts in 65 cents that we're going to go to war with Iran, the closer we get to the deadline date, the more human energy we have going, man, we really need to go to war with Iran. If we can just go to war with Iran, I'm going to get like $1,300. They're gaming our reality. They're gaming our lives. They're gaming your future. Like, you're a fucking game to these people. Every single fucking one of them, you're just a game. And most of you are too stupid and know the rules of the game as far as they're concerned. They don't think you have the intelligence to know what the fuck the game's about, how to win, to know if you're losing. They think you're just, you bought the ticket, you're stuck in this shit, and 50 years from now, you'll die from cancer or a drug overdose or police brutality. And it don't matter, because in the meantime, they're going to be collecting like $200K a week on fucking parlays on some rigged fucking sports entertainment shit that's obviously rigged, because the most intelligent mind would be able to see the mathematical patterns of anybody's interaction with any system. John Nash, motherfucker. So you might be like, damn, so what's the point, Douglas? Where does this all lead? Well, I would hope it would lead to people like, Sneeko, who wanted to become as a Muslim, so that he could teach young minds about what's going on in the world, so that they are not manipulated by the systems like the Zionist system and the empirical American colonial system. And they could see that it's these players within these institutions that are the problem, and not the institution or the American people themselves. Yes, the American people have to stand up and stop this, because they're allowing their representatives and politicians to just run willy-nilly without any fear of recourse, genociding and participating in genocides and the bombing and the destruction of innocents this world over. And that way they could see the forest from the trees. But that's not what Sneako's doing. Sneako's just another Jew playing another fucking role, pretending like he cares because it's lucrative and financially beneficial to him. What is Nick Fuentes doing? Talking about how he'll run for politics in a few years, but in the meantime, like Nick, what is it? Jeffrey Epstein's, he's a cool guy. He's cool as fuck, dude. He's got that aura. He's got vibe, bro. We should make vibe code apps on Jeffrey Epstein. How to be like the next Jeffrey Epstein, bro. Dude, people are like, that shit's obvious. What I think about Nick Fuentes is this. I think that he is a model that the that the United States government contracted with Nick Fuentes so that they could use his image and likeness, and then they used General Flynn to create his script. And General Flynn probably sits there in front of a green screen and he talks, and it's immediately transferred using AI into Nick Fuentes' image and voice. Because if you listen to Nick Fuentes and then if you speed up General Flynn, they have the same cadence, the same speech patterns, they use the same type of terminology, they use the same sentence structure. Now, how high does my IQ have to be to know that? Huh? I'm not fucking joking here. I'm not making shit up. I'm serious. Go pay some fucking attention. Seriously, go pay some fucking attention. Go look at Nick Fuentes and fucking General Flynn. I think that Nick Fuentes is a character and nothing more that has written over their image and likeness to the United States Department of Intelligence, AI generation, and now General Flynn can sit there and make it so that he could say anything and make it come out of Nick Fuentes' mouth. I think he is literally a puppet, and that is it. He's not even a real person. And that's why when you see him, like when he assaulted that woman, you should look at the footage of him that day and how fat-faced that little pugly son of a bitch is compared to his live stream from shortly before or thereafter. I don't think that they match. I don't think that what we see Nick Fuentes on a regular basis is the real Nick Fuentes. I think it's just a character. Yes, when he has to make public appearances with people like Myron Gaines, yes, he loses a couple pounds and he cleans himself up, but that's it. I believe this is wholeheartedly true. And in other countries, you're allowed to make a statement, and then this motherfucker can come along and be like, that's not true. I wouldn't ever be that person. I wouldn't let my likeness be used like that, because I can't argue a fucking negative. But he won't come up here. He won't say a damn thing about it. He won't try to hop in here and be like, no, dude, I'll represent myself. Come on, Nicky boy. Let me come on air with you pretty soon here, and we will talk about this shit, because I guarantee you won't fucking have me on air with you, because you know who the fuck I am. You know what the fuck I'm about. And they're gonna be like, yeah, no, that motherfucker's an op, dude. And how the fuck am I an op to the guy who says that we're supposed to be America first and fucking pro Hitler and fucking get rid of the fucking Muslim terrorists and fucking occupied government Congress bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Well, those are all fucking convenient talking points that come from the algorithms generated by our social media feed, motherfuckers. These people only know what to say because we're telling them what to say. They only know what we want to hear because we fucking tell them fucking day in, day out what we want to hear. Doesn't mean they're going to do a damn thing to change it or make anything different or anything better. That's it. You're fucking voyeurs, baby. You're watching it for the series fucking season finale. You ain't participating in the outcome, are you? I'm just being real with you. So go ahead and watch Myron Gaines. See how much lower you can get your IQ by the end of the fucking week with his 11,000 people viewing him today. What? So he go, January 6th goes really deep. Even though they say sometimes it's the FBI, sometimes they're saying it's not the FBI. And that's why we know it's Tyler Robinson, because his grandpa did have a rifle. His grandpa did have a rifle after all. So obviously it was Tyler Robinson. Even though the dude only had a shadow when he chose to have a shadow while running across that roof, which, like, I do that whenever I want to. If I'm getting burnt out on my shadow, I'm like, shadow, go take a break. I got shit to do. Right? And who can jump down with a full ass fucking 30-06 rifle tucked into the side of their pants without fucking being injured? And how many screwdrivers does a motherfucker have? All right. And we all know that, it's all about chairs and magical tables around here. Like, we can't talk about a magical chair and table and shit. We're still talking about Tyler Robinson's defense. Can't we just talk about the motherfucking chair and table? Because, like, chairs don't go through tables. And if they do, then maybe there was no Tyler Robinson, because maybe there was no Charlie Kirk. But fuck that. Then that would destroy our fucking season finale. We're all waiting for the outcome. Will Tyler Robinson be given the life sentence since he's no longer eligible for the death penalty? Because it's really hard to get a jury of our peers to convict someone to death when they don't have a shadow. I mean, are you fucking literally picking up on what I'm trying to say here? It's really hard to get a jury of your peers to sentence somebody to death when an individual can voluntarily have a shadow. So it's not too hard to get him a life sentence because then, like, well, I mean, his family can come visit him and, you know, he has opportunities. He can better himself. The motherfucker didn't have a shadow unless he wanted to. I can't down there. I don't reach that far. So, again, Tyler Robinson, if we're really concerned about his defense, maybe we should get Wendy to sew his shadow back on, because then at least he's all in one place in front of that jury, and they'll be able to convict him and his shadow. I say we can get Wendy to sew his shadow back on from Peter Pan, and then that way the jury can convict him and his shadow of the crime against Charlie Kirk. Because God knows that shadow wanted no part of that fucking scenario. I mean, this is how it is, people. I'm not joking here. I'm not making shit up. How high does your IQ need to be to just know that there's something wrong when your shadow can come and go as it pleases? Right? And that's the same shit that happened. I'm surprised the FBI didn't come and try to investigate me. Did you try to tell Tyler Robinson to shoot Trump? We saw you do that terror spread the night before when you were talking about that tower and something happening right away. We saw it, Mr. Douglas. You see a lot of things. You saw me post 5 hours before that event happened at the YouTube headquarters that something was going to happen. That's that ESP, baby. That's that extrasensory, what is that? Possession? No, perception. That's a joke. So that's where we'll kind of land it there for a minute. You know, we're going to, as a nation, I want you guys to really feel this one. Tyler Robinson can no longer be given the death penalty for this case against Charlie Kirk, whether he's found guilty or innocent. And that's an interesting thing, because for a moment there, I was starting to talking about if we can wholeheartedly, as simple observers, prove that Tyler Robinson had nothing to do with that shooting, but we choose to kill him anyways. What happens if, like, the sky splits open and it says, because you have chosen to condemn innocence, I now condemn you all. And then the sun shits on us and we die. Pause for dramatic effect. No, I'm not reading a script. I've said that for years because it's humorous, right? Pause for dramatic effect. But the truth is that, you know, if we're just sitting here talking about it, we're just waiting to see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. Waiting to see the outcome of the Tyler Robinson case. Why don't we go there and fucking protest in the tens of thousands or the hundreds of thousands? Why don't we fucking, mob justice against the fucking government? Oh, I'm not encouraging violence. There's due process, even in mob justice, if we so decide it, right? But that's the civil unrest. That's the division. They push us to a point where there is no arrest, there's no recourse, there's no repercussion, there's no punishment for anybody's heinous actions and activities and acts, and it's all around us, and it's a humiliation ritual. You know what? We cut off their fucking adrenochrome supply. We cut off their entertainment system. So they're like, oh, we'll just kill America. All of it. Just kill America. Like, if they want to fuck around and find out, no. If you want to fuck around and find out, no. If you want to fuck around and find out, no, dude. If you want to fuck around and find out, somebody's going to fucking find out. That's for sure. Again, a little bit of a passion here. Who should fuck around and find out first? Us, for fucking exposing their fucking evil, fucking satanic behaviors? Or us are them for fucking their evil satanic behaviors. Who should fuck around and find out first, you know? Oh, you know, everything could have just been fine. Let us fucking eat our babies and live as long as we want to and fucking become as rich and powerful as we choose. But no, you had to talk about fucking Pizzagate. You had to talk about our pizza parlor, didn't you? You had to go there, huh? And what has happened since then? All this shit. Literally, do the timeline. Everybody's like, yeah, you know, Waco, Ammon Bundy's, a bunch of fucking, you know, government always wants to steal what's yours. Oh, but they groom and traffic and ritualistically target and victimize our children and turn our children into like monsters themselves. Hmm. Okay. Well, I don't think that can be. I don't think that can stand. What was it, the Nixum death, the fucking Smallville, the girl from Smallville and her sex cult that she was a part of. All this shit started just pouring out with Pizzagate and how it's in every part of their industries and in every facet of our lives. I don't even trust our kids getting their photos taken in their yearbooks anymore. But should we ever have? It's a really important question. Should we ever have trusted these people? You know, our children are our most valuable asset, most valuable resource. It's literally our future. Our children are it's not American Child season, and it ain't ever going to be again. And yes, children are still going missing. These people are still operating. They're still harvesting organs. It's gotten darker because it's been well publicized. Now people are like, hey, how do I get in that organ harvesting business? I can go kidnap me a couple kids. These kids always fucking run away from home. But we gotta go all the way, people. We gotta go all the way. And we have to take our children back. We have to take our lives back, our families, our economies, our workplaces. You know, they're trying to sell. They're even trying to get to the point where you're not even going to be employable because if your online social media activity, as soon as that application gets to HR's job is to look up what your social media activity online and your alliances and your comments and they're going to make it so that they're going to destroy the infrastructure of the family. They've already made it so we get what 50, 70-year home loans. Like it'd be great if we were living to be 120, but that ain't the case. So there's a lot here to unpack, all happening at one time. But we're just gonna sit here and wait to see how the Tyler Robinson thing goes. We're just gonna sit here and write out the rest of the Trump administration or his impeachment, and then we'll get President Vance and Vice President fucking Johnson, and they're already thinking about this. You can see it in their heads. That's one of the CIA tools is fuck knowing when a person's lying. It's even more powerful when you can tell what a person's thinking without them saying a thing. Who cares being able to tell if a person's lying or not? Most of what people say is a lie or it's built upon a lie. So when you start to know what a person's thinking, if you start to see the way they're looking at things, oh, I'm going to be vice president here in a few more months. That's why I get to have all these fantastic costume changes. Marco Rubio finding out that he is going to be Galactus's Silver Surfer now that the Silver Surfer has left Galactus. So that's it. It's not the end of it. It's actually just the beginning. This is so easy to stop. It's not even funny. They're trying to make us so retarded because if we realize what was going on, we'd stop it. And we're not capable of realizing what's going on. So let's just make it real simple here. Either a trigger event will occur and take place, and all of our families and children will all be directed towards that, massive outcome. A war with China, a war with Russia, some type of massive biological virus, plague. Something's going to happen to wipe out a X amount of the population. And all of this is like soft play in the meantime. It's like soft core, right? What we can do, and it does have to do with moving out of the cities, getting out of their systems, getting away from their biodigital convergence epicenters, teaching your kids about the land, about the earth, about having a relationship with nature, about how to raise livestock, how to raise chickens, how to raise pigs, how to raise whatever they need to in order to survive, how to ride horses, how to build pistols from scratch, how to build revolvers. That's going to be an art form again. I know there's a lot of guns, but they're going to confiscate guns, and we're going to have to learn how to do things and develop these skills on our own. And we do have to take back our positions of government authority and power. And they're going to be like, well, how is that possible if you've already said that it's a selection and not an election? Because we show up in mass. We show up in mass and we begin to make our votes public. And then they can't select for us because they can do an audit and the AI can just call out and check in with every single person in America. Hi, we were just checking to make sure that this biometrically registered vote was in fact registered to the person that. So we would like to reconfirm that your vote was in fact your voice and your opinion and your wish, your issue. So they don't want that. Oh, we're talking about getting rid of mail-in ballots. That's cool. So that we can depend upon the age-old system of lying counters and lying voting machines. Nah, dude, just get rid of all that bullshit. Just make it 1000% transparent. I mean, shit, I'd give a drop of blood if I knew my vote really counted. Wouldn't you? Because it's a system that nobody can seem to resolve or correct. But unfortunately, guess what? It's that easy to resolve and that easy to correct. And let's go further. Our law enforcement, we can become the law enforcement of our communities, with the exception that we can call in outside officers when necessary. They don't manage our mental health cases properly. They don't manage our domestic disputes properly, and they resolve many of our issues with direct violence. We could do that for ourselves. The manipulation of 200,000 Americans to apply for ICE. The two people who were recently found to be responsible for the shooting of Preddy potentially are Hispanic. Major power trips. If they see the white man being all power, like, oh, I'm in control. This is my authority. This is my power. This is my badge. This is my gun. Oh, you think you're powerful with your badge, honestly? I can get a badge too, motherfucker, and a gun. And you know what? Fuck it. We'll make your country look like a piece of shit because that's what it is, huh? You guys have to understand the nature of the deception. You can manipulate people to manipulate people to manipulate people. We're supposed to be greater than that. We're supposed to be the greatest nation to ever exist. This is the kind of attitude I'm going to take when I make it into the position of president, because people aren't going to want to fuck with me. I'm going to put some really fucking powerful motherfuckers around me, and we're going to run around in a glass Pope machine so that nobody can shoot my ass or blow me up. Why? Because that's the only fucking answer to the problem I'm going to bring to them. That's the only way they'll be able to stop what the fuck I'm going to do. And yep, there's 17 of us right now. But I so solemnly swear it. If I have to use my fucking every penny, every ounce of my energy, and every fucking iota of my being to achieve this so that we can be free from our occupiers and oppressors and the tyrants that rule over our government and are destroying our karmic standing with our collective world citizenry and body of family members, no problem. I'll do whatever it fucking takes. And I don't need you to support it. I don't need you to donate towards it. Just fucking stand up for something you believe in if you have any conviction in you at all. Because it's our lack of conviction that's gotten us in this position in the first place. And I have no lack of conviction or willpower or confidence that I'm capable of any responsibility that would be expected of me in that position. I have no doubt, no fear, no apprehension, no anxiety, nothing. Just fucking send me in, coach. And I'll fucking make these people fucking regret their fucking choices. I'll make them hate their own lives. I just need to be put in there, coach. Fucking send me in. And it's the worldwide party. It's the March of Truth for our youth. It's the vendetta that must be paid. I'm not angry. I'm not frustrated. I don't hate nobody. I'm just better than the bullshit that I've been born into. And I'm choosing a better path and course for all of us. And together, we will make a nation first and then a world that everybody will be grateful for and we'll have peace. And they say, oh, there will always be violence. And no, fucking get the fuck off, dude. I've been in this world a long fucking time, 40 fucking plus years. All this shit is a product of their division, their chaos, their ability to pit one of us against the other. All that can end now with our generation, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, boys and girls, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters. This can all end right now. When we choose to stand up and tell them, go fuck yourselves, you punk ass bitches. You can't make me do a fucking thing. I'm going to raise my family right. I'm going to make sure they're covered and taken care of. I'm not going to poison them with your fucking vaccinations, inoculations. And I'm sure as fuck not going to fight any of your fucking liar, fucking Zionist, fucking transhumanist banker wars ever again. I'm not even going to peddle your propaganda. I'm not going to fucking eat your bullshit any further. Trump, Vance, and Johnson can go fuck themselves because we're voting in fucking Douglas and Prez next door. And Prez next door is being very, very transparent with who he is and the Worldwide Party because we're not participating in any of their shit any longer. And we're defunding them. We're not just boycotting them. We'll fucking burn our own fucking dollars if we have to. Like I said, I've never paid taxes because I didn't want to fucking fund the genocide of children in third world countries. Well, I don't see any reason why any of us should anymore. We're not protecting ourselves. We're not keeping ourselves from harm's way. We're just creating fucking violence and hatred and death and destruction and evil in the world. That's why it will never end because we keep fucking creating it. We keep acting as co-creators, enablers of a fucking dysfunctional ass fucking mentally impaired administration, government body, and system of operation. We're just enablers. We're not co-creators. We're fucking enablers. And you know this. And you can do better than this. Stop buying their drugs, quit feeding their corporations, get healthy, get strong, become whole. Don't play their games. Listen to those who are educating us and uniting us and not driving us apart from one another. Because a unified people is an unstoppable force. It is division. It is their agendas. It is their propaganda and lies and tactics of deception that they've used for generation after generation to turn us against each other. Are you just a product of that world? Or are you better than that? Are you capable of being something much greater? Because I wholeheartedly, with my whole heart, believe that there's a path that lays before us that we can transverse. And when we do, we will find the peace that we all have been seeking desperately, breathlessly. Amen.